Good evening and welcome to the 5th episode of the Seneca Scout for this year. We have special guests and some exciting stories for you today, ranging from homecoming recaps to the Seneca Scout newspaper to the upcoming middle school musical and much more. I'm Maddie Conrad, joined by special guest assistant principal Mrs. Lazeski.
At the Seneca Valley football game on Friday, October 6th, the homecoming king and queen were announced, and the winners were Kara Pascal and Miles Bowman. Crowning them were last year's prom queen, Natalie Thompson, and last year's homecoming king, Mark Evelsizer. Earlier this month, seniors chose 20 classmates to represent their homecoming court. Several of the boys nominated for homecoming court had stated that they had a feeling Miles Bowman was going to be the winner. And the girls told us that they were hopeful that whomever won would be happy. Congratulations to Kara and Miles, and the SBTV, on SBTV, you can see rebroadcasts of the homecoming ceremony and football game, which was another exciting part of last Friday night.
The Seneca Valley Raiders stack another win with the homecoming game against the Hempfield Spartans. The Seneca Valley player Kai West scored 3 touchdowns in the first quarter. By the end of the half, the score was 35-0. The Spartans did not score until the fourth quarter after the mercy rule had taken effect. The Spartans ended up scoring one more time for the final score of 42-13, with Seneca taking the win, extending their streak to 2-0 after a rocky start to the season.
Last Sunday, the Seneca Valley competitive cheer team competed at Ambridge High School for the first time of the season. Their traditional routine got 3rd place as the whole division was very competitive. The game day routine, full of cheering signs and shouting, took home 1st place with an excellent performance. These girls have been working hard since July. Competitions are lasting till Nationals in February. Last year, the team made history making it to finals for their game day performance in Nationals and want to do even better this year. Comp season is only getting started, and wishing them luck for the rest of this season.
Student Athletic Leadership Team, or SALT, is a program that allows students to take command of athletic activities. SALT is in its 2nd year and has countless students involved. These students can volunteer, work with kids, and even help schedule events. SALT meets a couple times every month to discuss boosting attendance, working on events, and other items regarding athletics in the high schools. Senior SALT member Natalie Tuffanelli had this to say about the team.
SALT is a student athlete leadership team that takes different athletes from different sports to help them work together to raise viewers, funds, and help the youth in community service. What I do for SALT is I am part of the increased viewership section, which helps our sports get more viewers so that we can raise more money to get uniforms and like the new field house. What I think SALT does for student athletes is it helps them work together because in your each own individual team, you already have friends there. So SALT takes all of those individual teams and friend groups together, so that now we're one big group of people that just help each other out.
You can also see some SALT updates with live guests every morning on the Seneca Says morning announcements.
Now moving on to Seneca Valley Theater. Let's check in with Christian for a behind-the-scenes look into the upcoming middle school musical, Finding Nemo.
Middle school musical Finding Nemo is just a month away, and rehearsals are starting to ramp up. Under the direction of Miss Amanda Armour, Jessica Kavanaugh, Chessa Crum, and Susanna Garcia, middle school students have been dancing, singing, and creating massive props like jellyfish umbrellas. Let's check in with some of the people in charge.
There's going to be scenes where everyone are different kinds of fish, bright colors. There'll be scenes where they are turtles. We're trying to take some of the ideas of the types of fish that they are into kind of human groups too. For example,
How is it working with younger actors?
Well, it's really fun because younger actors, first of all, they remember things faster, so it makes that a little easier in a way. They are also eager.
I have been working with younger actors for about the last 10 years, so it's kind of probably feeling a little bit more normal to me than anything now at this point. But I would say the biggest challenge with working with younger students is just getting everybody to focus and learn all the skills of the stage that they might not have learned yet.
Since Finding Nemo is under the sea, it is not a regular musical because the directors are having each part of the show personify the ocean. Students have been working hard on how a fish would move and act under the water. Seneca Valley's animation class is also adding to the set with projects for the lighting crew to use. How will you be personifying the characters in the show?
Everything is about movement, especially when you're choreographing. You have to keep in mind how would a certain creature, sea creature, would move. Where would they go? How would they approach things if they're bottom feeders or if they are just swimmers or whatever they're doing?
A lot of our characters in the show as fish have to think about how you can kind of turn yourself into an animal as a human. So certain groups of characters, I think, kind of can look at themselves as being kind of like groups of humans. I said before, our turtles are kind of like surfers. Our sharks are kind of like a gang. They have sort of human counterparts that you can think of for it, which I think is really fun to kind of consider them that way.
What are you most anxious to do?
I'm anxious to finish teaching all the choreography and seeing it super sharp, clean, and beautiful, exactly the same way I'm seeing it in my head.
I am most anxious to get it all put together right now. We're in our final stages and getting ready to run the show, and I think that once I can see it all come together and all of our different students who are all involved in so many activities actually getting together to come as one cast and put all the pieces together, I think it's going to be really incredible.
After the success of last year's musical Newsies, students and staff are excited to see how this plays out. Opening night is November 10th, 2023. I'm Christian Schuster, reporting for the Seneca Scout.
Thank you to Christian, Mrs. Armour, and Mrs. Garcia for the update. And now to give us even more input on the production of Finding Nemo, I'm joined by special guest, student producer Ella Gemperline. As a student producer, what do you do to help the directors?
So I take attendance. I as well help with the kids with their motions if they're not getting it, but usually they get it pretty well. I also work with back in the booth. I help with the lights, the sound sometimes, but usually I'm sometimes up with the kids and sometimes back in the booth.
What makes the show challenging, and what is the most exciting part of the show that you want to do?
The most challenging part about it is that it is very much a spectacle show, so there are a lot of things such as the fish that are synchronized, and as well as like the belly of the whale. There is like the tank gang, and it's that's very challenging to have that spectacle and be achieving that on stage, but it's very fun to work with the kids, very fun. They are a special treat.
And what do you like to do when working with the younger students?
I really like to work with their character development and with activities that will make them understand how they can get into their character a lot more easier. So I feel like that is my favorite part. So.
Thank you, Ella. Now back to Mrs. Lazeski.
The Seneca Valley Scout newspaper recently released their first issue for the 23-24 school year. The Seneca Scout newspaper is both a class and club offered at Seneca Valley. Among other things, a huge step for the club is creating paper copies of their most recent release. It has been 12 years since the Seneca Scout printed paper copies. In addition to the club, they hope to improve and modernize the website, expand the scope of stories covered, and bring more publicity to the paper. The club comprises a handful of members, so each has to be responsible for their part in making the newspaper possible. We asked the club sponsor, Ms. Lou Garish, how she feels about the state of the club this year.
How do I feel about printing paper for the Seneca Scout? I'm really excited to have the students' stories be printed and have them have the opportunity to be able to look at their work printed and share it with others. It's our hope that the printed copies will help to get the word out about the school paper so that our readership goes up, and hopefully, more people will become interested in the school news. Some of the challenges with the school newspaper, I think the first is that most people don't know the school newspaper exists or the Seneca Scout exists at all. So trying to get more people involved in the club, as well as improve our readership. The website exists, but again, there isn't a whole lot of publicity, so most people don't visit it. And that's our hope with the paper, and then having QR codes around the school that more people will visit the site, will read the newspaper.
Good. And of course, this Seneca Valley Scout news program hopes to work closely with our peers at the Seneca Scout newspaper over the rest of this semester as well.
SV's popular Later Lowe's has received a new iced coffee machine this past week. Previously at the Lowe's, students ordering iced coffee would have to wait longer than others because the coffee was being brewed separately. Well, now they don't have to because of the new stocked iced coffee machine. This new machine helps the staff work more efficiently and get orders out quickly for students to enjoy. On November 10th, a stock representative will be visiting the Later Lowe's to hand out free cold brew samples to students. Let's check in with our friends over at the Later Lowe's to see what they've been up to this month's special and the new machine that everyone's talking about.
Ready whenever you are.
Okay. Hi, SV Nation. So mark your calendars on November 10th. Representatives from Stock Cold Brew Coffee will be coming to visit us in the morning and giving out free samples of their product. So head on down to the roast and we'll be excited to see you.
Specials are pumpkin boo brownie and trick or treat iced coffee.
Oh.
Well, I do know it's really new and it's high priority snobs and the flavors customers can enjoy it.
Special number 1. This is our pumpkin boo. Yeah, nice job, Landon.
The Later Lowe's is a great opportunity for the school to raise money for a good cause by enjoying a yummy treat. Every morning the shop is open periods 1 through 3. Make sure to pack the lines to the Lowe's to get some iced coffee to brighten your day.
And we end tonight with an update on one of the biggest bands of the last several decades, Queen. Over the past 2 weeks, Queen and Adam Lambert have begun their tour of the United States. Just finishing up in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena, the band is currently in New York City performing at Madison Square Garden. Their initial show was Thursday, but added one tonight as well due to the demand of tickets. So far, fans are saying that the show is amazing, especially when former lead singer Freddie Mercury appears as a hologram on stage. Guitarist Brian May has been telling the public, lots of surprises are promised, and they have yet to disappoint.
Thank you again, Mrs. Lazeski, for joining us this evening, and be sure to check back in with us next Friday night at 7 p.m. for another great episode of the Seneca Scout. Bye.
Bye.